Hello and welcome back to the Wrestle Debate and to AEW All Out Out of 10. Once again, like any other AEW pay-per-view, this show didn't disappoint, so I can't wait to review it with some big matches including John Moxley v MJF and Chris Jericho v Orange Cassidy. So let's get straight into it. Starting off with the opening match, so Pensaco versus Joey Janella. Janella was pretty much in control from the beginning. He hits the Pensaco with a flying elbow drop for the win off the top rope, and that was pretty quick. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. Typical pre-show match, and it's good to have a babyface win to start off the show. Next up on the buy-in, it was Private Party versus the Dark Orders 3 and 4. Both teams really impressed here, and there were a couple of near falls here which were really good, but it was the Private Party's night. They hit Silver with the gin and juice for the win. I'm going to give this a 6.5 out of 10. Really enjoyed the match. Both teams impressed me. Near falls had me on the edge of my seat, and I never thought I'd be like that for a pre-show match. So thumbs up from me. The first match on the main card was Britt Baker versus Big Swell. It was at Britt Baker's dentist. It's a bit weird actually. Baker had control of the match, but it spilled outside briefly. Rebel or Reba came back, and it was pretty much dominant for Britt Baker when it headed back into her office, which Big Swell stick a syringe at Britt Baker to give her the upper hand. Swell then put a mask on and put Baker to sleep. 6.25 out of 10. Was not expecting this match. I thought this would be Britt Baker's path to return and moving on to Hikaru Shida next. Yeah, but overall the match, I'm not really sure on the match stipulation. I wasn't really too excited by it, so I'm only going to give it 6.25 out of 10. Next up, it was Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express. The Bucks worked over Jungle Boy for long stretches of the match before Luchasaurus got the hot tag in and was in control. Nick Jackson caught Jungle Boy with a powerbomb on the apron, and the Bucks went to hit Jungle Boy with the BTE trigger, but he dodged it. Luchasaurus then hit Nick Jackson with a clothesline. The Young Bucks had Jungle Boy isolated in the ring and caught him with a double super kick and then a BTE trigger for the win. After the match, they weren't really very kind. It seems like a heel turn is in the offering for them, and I'm going to give this a 6.75 out of 10. I just like how this story plays into everything with Omega and Page at the moment, so yeah, really good. Next up, it was the Casino Battle Royal, starting off with Trent Phoenix, The Blade, Hager, and Christopher Daniel. Hager and Phoenix dominated for most of the first segment before Christian Daniels launched himself at Jake Hager off the middle rope, but was fastened by a power slam. Then it was Kazarian, Hobbs, Chuck, Taylor, and Santana and Ortiz. Santana and Ortiz were in control. Will Hobbs impressed as he eliminated the Blade pretty early on before Billy Gunn, Ricky Starks, Brian Cage and Darby Allin were out next. Brian Cage dominated for most of this as you would expect him to. Chuck Taylor was next to be eliminated before Sean Spears, Blade, Eddie Kingston, Kiss and Lance Archer were last group. Kiss went right after Jake Hager and eventually eliminated him before we got down to Eddie Kingston and Lance Archer, and they had a pretty good brawl as you'd expect before Archer eventually got the better of him. 6.75 out of 10 for me. Really good match this, enjoyed it. The only question I have was that I just can't see how Lance Archer is going to beat John Moxley or MJF, for that matter. So he's already lost the TNT title match. Is it wise to have him lose a World Championship match now as well? I'm not sure. But anyway, it's great to see Matt Sydal debut as the mystery entrant.
Next up, it was Matt Hardy versus Sami Guevara in a Broken Rules match. Matt Hardy was backstage near the football field where the Stadium Stampede was, and Sami Guevara showed up, driving a cart this time, and got on top of Hardy early on. Hardy and Guevara continued to brawl before they started climbing a platform near the stage. Matt Hardy caught Guevara with a right hand, sending him crashing down about 15 feet. Sami Guevara was unable to make it back up to his feet, and referee Aubrey Edwards counted 10 for the victory for Hardy. Now, obviously, Hardy suffered a horrendous injury in this, which I chose not to mention, and for that reason, I'm not going to grade it, just because I think it'd be a bit wrong, but I wish Matt Hardy all the best in his recovery. Hikaru Shida then fought Thunder Rosa in the next match for the women's title. Shida started off quickly with a jumping elbow. However, Thunder Rosa hit back, sending Shida into the ring post. Shida looked for a reply with Falcon Arrow, but Rosa was a step ahead of her and rolled her up. Thunder Rosa then hit a Death Valley driver for a near fall. The finish of the match saw Shida hitting a driver of her own. She caught Rosa with her planted running knee to retain the Women's Championship. 6.75 out of 10. Probably makes sense for Shida to retain. And I hope AEW signs Thunder Rosa permanently, because she is a game changer and could be huge for that women's division. Next up, it was the Dark Order versus Dustin Rhodes, QT Marshall, Scorpio Sky, and Matt Cardona. The babyface charged the ring and put the Dark Order to the floor as the match began. Cardona looked great as he caught Cabana with a reboot in the corner. Stu Grayson tagged him in and did a great job in wearing Cabana down. Dustin Rhodes was tagged in and was on fire, taking everyone out until Mr. Brody Lee hit him in the ring and started to get on top. Matt Cardona came in and hit Grayson and Uno with radio silence. The Dark Order then isolated QT Marshall before Rhodes tagged in. Lees took out Dustin Rhodes with a clothesline and tagged in Cabana. Instead of going for the cover, Cabana went for a moonsault and missed it. Rhodes rode up Cabana to win for the Nightmare family. I'm going to give this a 6.25 out of 10. This didn't really make sense to have Dark Order lose with the momentum they've been on recently, so I disagree with that. So yeah, I'm going to give this a 6.25 out of 10. Following the match, Lee attacked Cabana verbally after the match, and it was announced that it would be Lee v Rhodes for the TNT title on Wednesday. Then it was Omega and Page versus FTR. Wheeler and Page started the match off for their respective teams. Wheeler offered Page a handshake, but Page caught him in the face. Harwood tried to get him in the ring before Page offloaded. He got caught up in the heat of the moment and almost struck his partner before they started to look good together, Omega and Page, and were dominating for most of it. Omega and Wheeler were the legal men, before Wheeler was isolated. Kenny Omega headed up top, but was tripped by Dax Harwood, so FTR got on top and then isolated Omega. FTR managed to isolate Page before Omega got back in. Hangman Page went for a last call, but before Harwood and Omega duck, Omega went for the V-trigger, but hit Page by mistake, and then it's where it started to go downhill. FTR hit Hangman with the assisted spike pile driver and a second spike pile driver for the win. But that wasn't all. After the match, Omega and Page walked out on each other, with Omega going off with the Young Bucks and Page all on his own. 8 out of 10. Sensible move to make FTR the champions. I can't wait to see what they do, but I'm even more intrigued to see where this story goes now and what happens next with Page and Omega. Up, it was the Mimosa Mayhem match between Jericho and Cassidy. The match started off with Cassidy charging at Jericho, but Jericho hit him with a code breaker out of nowhere to get a 2 count. Cassidy managed to push Jericho off the platform and then launched himself at the Demigods before Cassidy threw one of the barricades at Jericho. This didn't keep Jericho down for long before they exchanged blows. Jericho hit a lion tamer to get on top before Orange Cassidy replied with a DDT. Jericho hit Cassidy with another cage breaker to get on top. The finish saw Jericho trying to powerbomb Cassidy into the vat of mimosa when Cassidy countered and hit Jericho with the orange punch. Cassidy followed it up with a second orange punch and sent Jericho into the mimosa. And of course, what a shot. 7 out of 10 for me. This was just class, and I really enjoyed this feud, so kind of sad to see what it's over, but intrigued to see what they do next. And this is just a perfect ending with Jericho going into the mimosa. Finally, in our main event, it was Moxley v MJF. Moxley dominated the early stages. MJF tried to focus on Moxley's shoulder in the early stages of the match to try and set it up for the Salt of the Earth armbar later on. MJF continued to work on Moxley's arm and shoulder, wearing down the champion. The challenger was all over the champion. Moxley smelt blood, literally and figuratively, and caught MJF with running knee, which opened him up. MJF then replied with a super kick While Wardlow was distracting the referee, Moxley, who had threatened to hit the paradigm shift before but prevented it, hit it when the ref couldn't see and picked up the 1-2-3. 7.5 out of 10. Perfect ending. Didn't hurt MJF too much. Affects their relationship with Wardlow. And Moxley's still the champion, which is probably what AEW wanted. So very, very good this. Overall, AEW All Out gets a 7.25 out of 10 for me. Another very solid pay-per-view from AEW, who are just making it a bit of a habit at the moment. And I really enjoyed some of the matches. Jericho, Cassidy, Moxley, MJF, and the tag team matches were all incredible. Shida v Thunder Rosa wasn't half bad either. It's just that I felt it was let down a bit by the Dark Order match and Swell v Britt Baker. They were the only major down points. But except for that, it was a very, very, very good show by AEW. But anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below about AEW All Out and my grades. Follow me on Twitter, link in the description below for daily wrestling news. And subscribe to my other channels on the screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.